Good evening, folks. So I figured it's about time to give the Ram truck some love again, but this is a 19-month review. So with my vehicles here, the Benz, once I drive it, and the Durango, I'm gonna do videos monthly, just monthly updates, monthly, basically what's good, what's bad. So this is the 19th month update on this truck, kind of high mileage, long-term review. So not much else to report from the 18th month review here. You can't see, and it is supposed to be about 30 below tomorrow morning, so I am going to do a video. I'm going to merge those together here and kind of show you some issues that I have when it's really cold out with the truck. So tomorrow's going to be a perfect time to show that. But anyway, no real issues. My truck is stored indoors, I would say 80% of the time. The only time it's not is during the nighttime when I get done with work. So in the pretty much November through March. Otherwise, the car is always stored indoors, and this truck is stored indoors all the way from basically middle of March through middle of November, because I just don't need it as much, for my work. And I don't want to drive the Mercedes in the wintertime, just to keep the longevity of it. And it is a very cool, it's going to be a future classic vehicle. Can't beat that engine noise out of the Hemi. So anyway, nothing new to report yet here, although I do want to show you some issues I have when it gets really, really cold out. And this usually happens when it gets to be about 0 and below, which, people in the Midwest here, well, northern Midwest, I should say, northern Wisconsin, we do have those kind of issues quite frequently throughout the winter time. But everything seems to be going good. I got a custom Gibson exhaust on when I bought the truck 19 months ago because I didn't like the stock. I've done that with all my Hemis that I've had here. And occasionally there will be some rattling on there. So that's a Gibson exhaust issue and not necessarily a Ram truck issue. The eco mode works very well. Auto stop start works well. That e-torque system, great. No issues with that. I did have some issues with the Uconnect here. When I bought the truck, I didn't feel like the sound was as good as what it could be with this Harman Kardon system in here. And I took it to a dealer. It was covered under warranty. They had to do a software update on the Uconnect system, and that seemed to help with the sound a little bit, but the sound definitely sucks compared to my Mercedes. That also has a Harman Kardon, I believe a 17-piece system. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. But so I did have some issues with that, although the Uconnect system itself has worked really good. On the backup camera, and I will show you this tomorrow, I would say 90% of the time when it gets to be about 10 degrees and below, the backup camera gets a little funky. There are some black lines that go through that, and the side and front camera as well. So, just to keep that in mind, although I could give a shit about that stuff, I really don't care. I can still see my 4 cameras just fine, even with some of those little black marks in there. The sensors will occasionally kind of act up when it gets really cold as well. Right now they won't, because my truck has been in my heated shop the whole day, basically for over 12 hours now, so it's totally fine, and I'm almost home. But you get that with most vehicles when it gets cold out anyway, so that's not a huge problem. The air suspension hasn't been giving me issues yet. I'm pretty lucky with that. Otherwise everything else is pretty good so far. I do have to say, I just love this Hemi motor. This is my 3rd one. It's the 4th in the family. when you buy something as old as this motor, you know, this engine, and the transmission too, I should say, but this engine, you know, the 5.7's been around since 04. It's 2023. That's really old. And this is a 19, so I mean, that gave them 15 years to go through the engine and make it perfect, basically. So I love it. I love it. That's why I keep buying Ram trucks. I'm going to keep buying Ram trucks. I'm assuming my next truck is not going to be a Hemi. I'm planning on keeping this one for quite some time till they come out with the 6th gen and go from there. But yeah, otherwise, so far so good with 62,000 miles. Hoping to get over 100 with this and keep doing some monthly updates here. But right now, we're just going to put the backup camera on here, back into the driveway. And hopefully I can show you some of those issues here in the morning. But right now, that's a crisp, clear backup camera. And, you know, the 3 other cameras. So pretty damn good, if you ask me. Pretty damn good. There we go. Perfect every time. All right. Try to get a morning cold start and a morning video. With the wind chill, it's about 40 below. Truck started up okay though, as you can see. It is really, really cold though. I'm curious to see what the truck says. The Amazon said it was about 21 below here. Would you look at that? So, usually it beeps when you do that, and it didn't beep because it's kind of cold. So, I just want to throw this into reverse here. Actually, it didn't do it. So it's really cold, and it didn't have, so this is intermittent with me. I've noticed when it gets cold, you know, the screen kind of goes blackish and everything. Like black lines go through it, but there's no black lines, which is great. The gas mileage this time of year is just something terrible. I think I'm getting 12.2 right now, although I was towing a trailer here a few days ago, so I don't know if it's reset from that or not. But very good. I can't play music because of copyright issues, but I can tell you that when it does get this cold, the speakers, this speaker doesn't work right here for whatever reason. The sound, I'm just trying to find some music quick to, let's see. Yeah, I don't really have a good example of what it's like. But anyway, when it's really cold out like this, the speakers almost sound muted. You know, you can't crank them right away. You have to make sure that you let the truck warm up, because you can't crank these speakers when it's this cold. I found that out. The sound sucks. You know, it sounds like something you'd buy in a base model Honda Ridgeline or something. It just really is bad. I've also noticed that this speaker right here, and I believe it's this speaker, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to work when it's cold. It starts to rattle, so there's, I don't know if glue in there or whatever in that speaker. Something's rattling and it just doesn't work. But that's when it gets extremely cold. I mean, there's not a lot of people. Oh, that guy's flying. Holy shit. Jesus, we're gonna have to catch up to him. Fucking Lincoln goddamn Corsair or whatever the hell that is, MKC. Anyway, when you look at the majority of the truck buyers and the majority of the population in the United States, you know, you're really not going to have to worry about this negative cold air, I would say, for your truck. But you know, it's just stuff to notice if you live, you know, in the northern Midwest and you have to deal with these cold temperatures quite frequently. You know, one thing I am worried about, and I said I'd never do this, but both my cars I have now have air suspension. That's big money if shit goes wrong. So I have to tell you that I don't know if I don't do as much towing as I want to do. Well, I don't want to do any towing, but I don't do as much towing as I thought I would do here. So the air suspension is something that I just don't know if I need. Although when I tow my skid steer or heavier equipment, it is nice to have that auto leveling on the truck. So, you know, if you plan on keeping the truck any sort of time, maybe that's something that you don't want to get, or maybe it's something that you want to get aftermarket instead of factory. But I'm a little nervous with these cold temperatures here. You know, you can see it went down to aerodynamic right there, and I haven't turned it off. The lane assist helping me too. It's something that I'm just going to be a little bit worried about here in the upcoming years, as this truck does sit out overnight in the wintertime. So when it's this cold, I've got about 100 days out of the year where this truck sits overnight in the cold. So time will tell. Time will tell how this air suspension is going to hold up on these Ram trucks. But out of the 4th gen, I haven't heard any really major issues with it. So again, time will tell. We'll just kind of see how it goes here. To kind of recap this 19-month review video here, I'm just driving to work. So, you know, over the 19 months, I really haven't had to spend any money, not even on brakes, really, you know, as I shouldn't with 62,000 miles on it. But everything about the truck is pretty easy. The only money I've really had to spend on the truck has been with the Uconnect system, but that's my personal choice with it. You know, the average owner probably wouldn't do that because of the, you know, the cost associated with it. I had a warranty on the truck, but CPO, but I still had $100 out of pocket for that, and it really didn't increase the sound too much here. But I just want to hit on this. You know, there's something about having a this is a nice truck. This is a higher trim truck. It's not a limited. It's a Laramie, but it's optioned out to be, I think, as expensive as the Laramie could be in 19. So with that being said, you know, with more options comes more money that, you know, you may have to spend down the road with the air suspension or the cameras or repairs, you know, insurance costs. But with that being said, you know, if you buy a truck like this, like I look at the Durango that we have and I look at the Benz that we have, and you pay to play with the Benz. You know, that's an older E550. I realized when I bought it that maintenance, just your average maintenance costs are going to be higher, and I know that when you get a car like that, you pay to play. And even with the Durango too, with the brakes and tires and rotors and everything like that, it's a high performance vehicle. You know, that is a super high performance vehicle that is basically an SRT or a Hellcat, just without that motor. So you pay to play with those two vehicles. But with a truck like this, you don't pay to play. It's a truck. It's got a 5.7 liter Hemi in it. You know, it's the only aftermarket parts I put on when I bought the truck used. The tires, or I did have to get new tires, but the rims that came with the truck were on it already, so I didn't have to pay the $3,000 for those. And I did put a cold air intake in, and I did put a Gibson exhaust on. So I got a K&N open box cold air intake, and a Gibson exhaust. So that just ultimately lets the truck breathe a little bit better. It certainly doesn't help with fuel mileage because I feel like I'm stepping on the gas a little bit more than usual, and like my other trucks that I've had in the past, and it makes it sound better. But otherwise, you don't have to worry about performance brakes. You don't have to worry about performance tires. You really don't have to worry about performance anything with a truck like this. And it's still fast enough and comfy enough to make you, feel like maybe you're driving more of a large SUV than anything else. So you don't have to pay to play with this truck, which is great. You've got a tried and tested, Hemi V8 motor that is pretty damn good. And it's old, very old, so all the kinks are kind of worked out of it, and as they say. And you've got something that's very reliable. And that's really all I have to say about it. You don't have to worry about, twin turbo V6s, even 4 cylinders in some trucks now, twin turbo or turbocharged 4 cylinders. So you really don't have to worry about that. And that's why I like naturally aspirated engines, and I like basic, your basic engine. That's what I really enjoy about this truck. I like the torque and I like the power of it. I'm not into turbocharged engines yet. I've never owned one, and I don't think I will until I get forced into it. I'm either going NA or I'm going electric. There will be no in between. So with that being said, 19 months have been so good so far. So, and I've owned a Ram truck since I was 19 years old, 25. So for the last 6 years, I've had 3 of these trucks now. And I want to keep it 3 for the next 4 years, 5 years. I want to keep this truck for a while until they come out with a 6th gen and buy something then. But, yeah, I'm very happy with the truck so far. It's nice, there's not much for rattles, there's not much for extra sounds, it's pretty quiet. It's everything that you would expect. And you get, your lane assist. A bit of a burnout there, a little bit of a tire slip. Just sounds so good. Something you're not going to get out of a Ford truck now, or a Chevy with a smaller V8 with the 5.3, or their V6 engine. So 19 months down, so good, and so long.